Hi, this is Margaret Byrd, and welcome to Color Quest, and welcome to Ameland, an island off the north coast of the Netherlands in the North Sea. I am here visiting friends for 1 week and have been so inspired by the incredible gardens here on the island as well as on the mainland. The Dutch have a wonderful way with creating these elaborate gardens with wildflowers as well as with more traditional formal flowers. I'm standing here actually in front of a beautiful shared garden for the community in Holland, the village that I'm staying in, and walking through the streets, looking and just being blown away by the color. So while I travel, I like to have a chance to absorb the landscape and the colors that that particular space is going to share with me. Now, this time I'm moving around a lot, so I don't have access to a kitchen. I couldn't bring my pots in order to create dye. So over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be sharing some easy ways to collect color from flowers and be able to be mobile. So today on Color Quest, I'm going to be looking at the process of echo printing using a hammer. I won't have the time or the space to create a finished design, but I was curious to see what these amazing flowers can bring with a simple hammering technique onto textile. So let's go test out some of these Dutch flowers and see what beauty they'll bring us. Found a picnic table under a beautiful pine tree to do the echo printing today. And many of the flowers that I collected earlier in the week from the market and foraging have since dwindled. And so today we went out on a little bit more of a foraging trip and restocked up and got some different flowers. I actually today have some California poppy as well as some Oriental poppy, and we found some wild rose. So I did find what I believe might be wild phlox. So we'll see if that does something too. I have a few herbs too. I have some sage and some thyme and oregano. So if you watched last week's video on how to make dye from herbs, I thought, why not use a few herbs in today's echo print? And we found some very classic geranium. I know geranium makes a dye, so I'm hoping that the petals will leave a mark. The safflower is still looking pretty good. That will not be a flower shape, but it will bring some bright orange and yellowish colors. One lone nasturtium, and it feels like calendula. I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to look that one up, as well as the remnants of sunflower petals. Now, in doing this, I have a cutting board, which will be the hard surface that I'm echo printing on. I have a hammer, which is an amazing, very old hammer of my friend's grandfather's. So it's a beautiful hammer, actually. And I have some prepared silk. I prepared this at home. It is a silk gift bag. And I have placed a piece of cardboard on the inside to act as a barrier so that when I'm pounding the flowers on the surface, it doesn't go through to the other side. And I have some linen. Now this linen is very, very thick, so I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work. I also was unable to iron these. I know that you will want them to be as flat as possible, but we will try it out. This is also one of those gift wine bags. So I'm gonna try printing on these, and maybe if they turn out well, I'll have something nice to give away. There are several ways you can do this in terms of your design. I have some wind here as well as traffic and things going by, so I'm going to do it one flower at a time. And I am not looking for an exact print. I don't really have the setup to do that. So I'm going to be just curious what kind of print I can make, and know that it'll probably be more of the suggestion of a flower and something that's more abstract, which is always preferred for me. Now, here's the wind. So this is a bit of a challenge, but that's what happens when you travel. So I have a piece here of bamboo that is going to be used as my barrier textile. I will in fact get a print. You can see yesterday I was playing around with it and I got a little bit of a print of what I was doing. So I'm going to be using this. I have my silk here, my cutting board. I have a barrier inside, which is a pizza box here, you know, traveling and whatnot. And then my barrier for the top. I'm going to place whatever flower or leaf that I decide to put down first. Now, a flower is going to have some depth to it. So for example, this California poppy has a little bit of depth. So if I were to just place it down like this, I have the stem. I can remove the stem, and then I can actually make the flower shape with just the petals like this. And then I have a little bit more control over it. Okay, so I'm only going to do one flower at a time. So I've got this. I'm going to lay this down on top of it as flat as I can. And I'm going to start hammering. Now you will start to see the orange coming through from where I'm hammering. And because we have some wind, I have to be careful. There is a lot of liquid in that center part. You can check underneath to see how you're doing. And you can start to see the flower image coming through onto the bamboo, but it's also going to be making a mark onto the silk. Now you can see where the petals are now embedded in the silk. And this petal moved. I'm okay with that. We're going to work with this design, and I'm going to leave the flowers attached at this point to the silk. It'll allow me to really see where it is, and after I'm finished and it dries, I can wipe off gently the flower material. So now I can really see, and I can move on and make my second design. So since one of my petals moved, I've decided from a design perspective, I'm gonna go ahead and add another one here. So I'm just gonna place it there. That's why it's really nice to be able to see it. And then I can go on top of it and go ahead and hammer. think I'll hammer it just a tiny bit more. Okay. So, let's see. I think next I'm going to think about, when you're designing these, you always want to think about different colors, different shapes and sizes. I think maybe next what I'll use is some leaves, which I have from the herbs. So I'm going to place a leaf or two into this design. I'm going to get the stem as well, because that'll add a different shape. Oh, some of it lifted off, which is kind of cool. So you can see the leaf shape coming in there on the silk. But since I'm going to try to leave that in for a little while, I'm going to hammer a little bit more. Okay, and move on. I think I will add another one of those leaves. This is oregano. Many herbs will make a color, and they're nice to be adding green. Oop. So I think I'm going to just let that one stay. And you can see how beautiful that print is. You can see the lines of the veins of the herb itself, and the ghost print that's coming up on my piece of bamboo. It's kind of fun. Now I'm going to try this, which I believe is wild phlox, and I'm choosing this because of the color. I love the combination of the pinks and the oranges and the green, and it's got a different shape than the other ones. I'm going to flatten it as much as I can and find a place for it. And then I'm not sure if this is going to make a color, but we'll see. Oh yes, it does. There we go. Beautiful. Purple, lavender. Wow. Pretty. They almost look like butterflies. Nice. Okay, we'll go ahead and take this off. It's coming off, so I can just pull it off really easily. Look at that. Beautiful. And then you can just continue to build your design out. I'm going to add a little bit of red, maybe add some yellow from the petals of the sunflower. Again, a different shape than what's already on here. Maybe down here. Let's try that one. I'll turn it around so that it's opposite from this. Wow, look at that yellow coming through right away. Awesome. Ghost print. It's actually a little bit richer on the bamboo. going to add a little bit of red, I think. Where do I want to put it? Maybe there. Oh wow. So juicy. Nice. And it's not that vibrant red, it's this really pretty sort of magenta pink. Which looks awesome next to the yellow. I'll put one more on the other side. Don't be afraid to use the stems. They can create lines, which again is a different shape than what you're seeing in the flower petals and even the leaves. So this is thyme, and thyme will give us just a very slight image, which is great because it's different. All right, so you can continue to design as you like. For me, this was just a great way to see how the process worked and to test out different leaves. We've got some really beautiful prints here. The flower petals of the phlox and the leaves of the thyme, even the petals of the sunflower. The California poppy looks great. I could peel these off even now. And one of the beautiful things that you can see is that from the center of a poppy, you have that blackish, purplish color, and that translated into a really pretty bluish purple. So, and we're getting the variation of yellow up to the beautiful orange and darker. So it's really pretty spectacular. So I'm not going to peel any more of those off, but this gives you a good idea of what it's going to potentially look like on silk. And silk, you know, is a wonderful fiber to start anything with. Natural dyes, natural matter, love silk. And so if you're just getting started, obviously try paper. Paper's also wonderful and less expensive, but using silk is a great way. You will 9 times out of 10 get a much stronger, more vibrant print on silk. So let's move on, try some other flowers, but this time we're going to try it with linen. Let's try poppy. This is a bold move. See what happens. See if we can get a color from that. That would be super interesting if we got something that was different. There we go. Oh. Wind. Oh yeah, that's what we're talking about. Very pretty. Oh look, that one really is almost a photographic print. Look at that with that dark color in there. Cool. Okay, I would like to try the safflower. Now, if you're not familiar with safflower, it is a dyer's plant. These petals will not stay in a flower formation, so I'll use them more as sort of accent colors. They produce a yellowish orange dye, but it's pH sensitive, so you can actually shift safflower from this yellow orange color to a pink. And next week on Color Quest, I'll be looking at that with some sun dye. So let's go ahead and just pull some of these petals off. You can see as you remove them, which is not easy, they really are tiny pieces. So I'll try to keep this little batch together. Maybe I can get a little bundle look. And it comes right through the yellow. Nice. It's almost like a starburst. So nice little yellow pop there. And I think we'll do the same with another bundle. Maybe we'll take one that's a little bit more red. I don't think that's really gonna make a difference, but let's just go ahead and plop those down. Look at how pretty it is on the bamboo. That's the actual flower itself, but it's pretty. It's like a pressed flower. You can take it off even. It's super pretty. Okay. This time it stayed on the linen. So yeah, it makes like a really pretty sunburst effect. And you know that safflower is light, fast, so this will linger longer, which is fun. Now, looking at this, I think I'd like to add some leaves. Oh man, I also have nasturtium though. So I do not have access to nasturtium, so I only have one flower petal. So I kind of want to try this out. So let's test that one. I'm gonna make a line. So we'll do that, and then we'll do that one over there maybe. Let's see what nasturtium does. Oh wow, nice. You can see it as the ghost print. It's really powerful. Very, very good outline of the flower itself. I'm gonna let this one sit. I'll do it on the other side. Beautiful. So with the nasturtium, I'm getting the orange as well as the yellow from the inside. Okay. I think this piece needs a little green. I have a few sage pieces left. Maybe something like this. So we'll do one at a time though. Smells good. One thing about using herbs is that it smells really nice. We have a beautiful sage smell going on right now. It's harder for me to see the sage coming through onto the, but it's there, it's coming. It does have a bit of a brownish hue to it, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off because really I think it's really pretty. Okay, let's go ahead and pull that one off too. Yeah, there you have it. So on linen, I'm gonna let this dry. I will peel these plant bits off, and then I'll let it sit for like a day or two, and then I'm gonna iron it. And using an iron often will help set the color. Both of the silk and the linen were both prepared in a soy milk mordant or a soy milk binding process. I do have a video on how to use soy milk as a mordant. It's not a true mordant, but it does provide a protein bond with natural dyes to help with the bond between the textile and the plant matter. I often use soy milk. It's very simple. Scouring or washing the fiber, doing a pre-treatment, whether you do it with alum or soy milk as I did, or a tannin for that matter, those are going to help you. These will probably fade, definitely fade over time, but since I chose to do it on a wine bag or a gift bag, probably is not going to get washed. And I actually love how things fade and change over time. As you know, if you've been watching my channel here, it's part of what I love about natural dyes. So we'll pack this up, take it back to the United States, and have a little memory of some of the flowers of the summertime in the Dutch landscape. So very simple. You obviously could do so much more in terms of a design, but I thought maybe this would just give you some inspiration to go out into your own garden and find flowers and leaves that you could do a quick hammer technique. It's a great project to do with kids, and it's something that you can even collect dandelions and create some wonderful designs. You can get very detailed and creating things like a mandala, but just get out there, pick a few flowers. Some of the flowers I use today are going to be more light and color fast than others. Some will probably fade relatively quickly. To simply be curious about what a flower or leaf may provide in terms of color is enough for me to continue to explore. So I hope you'll do the same. Now note that you can do this process on paper, and you will probably find different results depending upon not only what flowers you use, but also what you do for preparing your fiber and what kind of fiber you choose to use. So experiment. Next time on Color Quest, I am going to be looking at sun teas. We've been very lucky to have had good weather here this week. So join me as you look to see what some garden flowers can produce if you have simply a jar, water, and the sun. Thanks so much for being here and joining me on my trip to Holland. Look forward to seeing you next time on Color Quest. This is the bamboo piece of fiber that I had as my resistance fiber or my protective layer, and honestly, it is so pretty just on its own.